Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Python and where you can learn Python. There's so many places you can learn Python. And why would you want to learn Python? So Python is probably the most popular programming language. Now, if you get your degree and you want to be a front-end developer, odds are you won't use Python in your job, but you will need Python most of the time to pass a software engineering interview because the language you are going to choose is likely going to be Python because it's the easiest language to use to solve those data structures and algorithm problems. So we're going to talk about Python, how it's very popular, how it's very easy to use, how it's the most common language to learn as your first language. Basically, if you're learning you're learning the ropes, then Python is usually what people choose. So Python is a great language. I love it personally. It's very fascinating, very simple. It just works with everything. It especially works with data, AI. It's not really used much in apps or front-end development, web development, but it does have its uses. It's used very commonly on interviews, which is obviously something you're going to do, right? You're going to do software engineer interviews or data engineer interviews or whatever you're going to do where you have to pass a leak code problem. And I will get into those in the future on my channel as well. Leak code problems and how to solve them. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and I would like to keep growing this channel. But yes, if you want to learn Python, I do have a really, I went through a lot of different programs to see which one teaches the best, which one is the best way to learn. And there's a lot of free resources out there to learn. Harvard has a great one on YouTube that you can check out. The one that I personally like the best is one over at Coursera, which I will link in the description. And this one it goes over everything. It's very informative. It goes over everything you could possibly want. And you get a professional certificate on top of it, basically saying you know Python. So I love putting a bunch of certificates on my resume. I love just stacking them. And it's like a achievement. Like, hey, I have achieved this. I have learned this. Here's the proof. And it's like a trophy for yourself as well. So in this program covers everything, and I will get into it in a screen recording here. I won't go over it too much, but it is a very good program, very good teacher, and Coursera is an amazing platform. But Python, like I said, if you're going to be a data engineer, if you're going to be a data analyst, if you want to work in artificial intelligence, Python is something you need to know. Even if you're going to be a cloud engineer, a lot of them do use Python. So the only time you're probably not going to be using Python is if you are a software engineer, whether that's a mobile developer, front-end developer, whatever it may be. So you probably won't be using Python, but you still need Python to pass an interview. Now, how do programming interviews work? Do you necessarily need to know Python? No, you can actually do it with JavaScript or any language that you want. It's just that Python is the easiest. So a lot of people will choose Python on the interview, because majority of the time, the interviewer is going to let you solve the problem in whatever language that you want. I'd probably say a good 80 to 90% of interviews, they pick Python because it's the easiest, and the interviewer allows them to pick that language. So the reason is it's less code. If you pick something like Java, the code is very long, the interview is going to be longer, the problem is going to be a little more complex. So Python is much, much better to choose for an interview. And we'll get into all of that in the future. I'm going to go over a lot of leak code problems in the future. I'm going to go over some more Python stuff in the future as well. And we will dive into some interview stuff too regarding this channel. But for now, I'm going to go over this program from Coursera and go over why I like it. So let's get into the screen recording right now. And we're here in the screen recording. I actually did the screen recording and forgot to record the screen. So here we are again, recording from scratch. Big no-no by me. But here we are. This is from the University of Pennsylvania, which is why I like it so much. You're going to get a professional certificate from an Ivy League school, which looks really good on your resume. Even if you don't put it on your resume, it's just like a nice thing to have, like a nice trophy. Basically, it's an introduction to Python programming certificate, and you know the material is good because it's from an Ivy League school. University of Pennsylvania also has a master's degree program on Coursera. That's computer science and information technology. I would not recommend that program because it's going to be way too expensive. But if somebody has a bunch of money lying around and they want to learn computer science or information technology, obviously it's a great program. So, but like I said, for a normal individual, would I recommend that? No. But this course I do recommend. This will teach you all the basics of Python programming. It's basically your standard course, but it is well structured and well delivered. It'll teach you everything you need to know about Python so you know exactly how everything works and what you're doing. So, Module 1, Course Introduction, Python language, variables, conditionals, Jupyter Notebook, and IDE. So you'll learn variables, which is the basic of a programming language. You assign something a variable. That's the first thing you learn in any programming language is usually variables. So variables and conditionals. So this module will cover that. This course claims it's 27 hours, but those are usually an overestimate. You'll probably complete this, I'm thinking, in 20 to 21 hours. Just like WGU, you can probably accelerate this in 2 days if you wanted to, but I would take your time on it. This is not school, guys. School is a piece of paper. When you're doing these professional certificate programs and you're trying to learn the skills, you actually want to pay attention. You actually want to digest the material. So I would take your time on that. And plus, you don't get it like any cheaper the faster you complete it, right? That's just something WGU does. So you might as well take your time and learn the material. Like I said, you will get a certificate, University of Pennsylvania, Introduction to Python Programming. This is a highly reviewed course, 4.5, 94%. So Module 2, you'll be introduced to lists, loops, and functions, all extremely important. This module I would pay attention to heavily. Lists and loops, you should be able to wrap your head around pretty easily. But functions sometimes take a lot of examples to really get the hang of, to really understand it, to really just make it click in your brain. That's what happened with me. Like, it took a lot of examples of functions for me to truly start grasping the material and truly understanding it. So functions, very important. This whole module, I can't explain how important this is. So 31 videos, 2 readings, 3 quizzes, 1 programming assignment. Module 3, also pretty important. List, strings, tuples, sets, and PyCharm. So another reason that I chose this course is because PyCharm is a not free IDE. So if you don't know what IDE is, an IDE is something you download and that's where you program your stuff. That's where you write your code. So PyCharm is the best Python IDE by far, in my opinion. The thing is, it's not free. I think there is like a 1-month free trial, but it's by far the best. You probably won't be using that because you don't want to pay for it. So you'll probably use, a different IDE. But yeah, so list, strings, tuples, sets, PyCharm, all very important. Like I said, you're going to need to know this stuff to pass an interview. Lists, strings, variables, tuples, sets, every data structure you can possibly imagine, you're going to need to know, and you're going to need to know how it works. You're going to need to write code of how it works and how to solve certain problems. So Module 4, you'll have dictionaries and files. Dictionaries are very important. Personally, I love dictionaries. It's the fun part of coding. It's how I like to call information. It's like how I like to store information, because I like to do a lot of work with data. So dictionaries are very important in data, and you will learn that. So 17 videos, 2 readings, 3 quizzes, and 1 programming assignment here. So dictionaries and files. Each module says 6 hours to complete. Like I said, kind of an overestimate. I would say probably take an hour off of that. You can get this done with really 2 days of hard work, but I think most of you will probably complete it in 2 to 3 weeks. So like I said, really good course, really good program. I'll leave a link in the description. You could sign up with this and check it out for yourself. and also a link to Coursera Pro. So Coursera Pro is really, really worth it. Something I have myself. Coursera Pro basically gives you access to every course on Coursera, every single course. Well, majority of it. It's like 90 to 95% of their courses. I think Coursera Pro is $400 a year. But like I said, if you're going to do a ton of courses on Coursera, it's worth it. So if you're going to do more than 2 courses on Coursera in a year, get Coursera Pro. Okay. If you do 3 or more courses on Coursera and you're not paying for Coursera Pro, you're actually losing money. So if you're going to do 3 or more programs, get Coursera Pro. Coursera Plus, sorry. I always get Plus and Pro backwards. Now we're back outside of the screen recording. And I just want to say Python is a good language to see if you like programming. If you want to see if programming is for you, if you want to see if you want to be a software engineer, then Python programming is a good place to start and see if you like programming, to see if you find it fun, to see if you find it interesting. Because odds are if you don't find Python fascinating, the very simple language, very easy to use, you might not like programming in general. So Python is very good for starting to learn. It's where most people start to learn, especially in the past 5 to 8 years. Usually you start off with Python. You used to start out with like Java or C++ or C#. A lot of people would start there, but Python over the past 8 years has gotten like ridiculously popular. I mean, you could say over the past 10 years, but over the past, 5 to 7, 8 years, Python has grown in popularity to a massive amount. And usually it is the first thing that people try to learn. Python is a very fascinating language. I personally love it. And Python deals with all the cool stuff too. Like if you want to get into AI, a lot of them use Python. If you want to collect data and figure out data, like you're going to be a data analyst or a data engineer, Python is something you need to know as well. I mean, some companies deal with R language, but for the most part, a lot of them deal with Python. So, I mean, it's good to know both, obviously. But Python is very important. It's a good beginner language, and it has a lot of useful stuff. Like I said, data too, right? A lot of astrophysics stuffs. They will use Python. The physics programmers usually they'll learn Python and SQL, and that's what they use to solve all of their problems. They write applications with that. Like I said, Python is used everywhere. Artificial intelligence uses Python. So if you want to see if programming's for you, I would recommend this course. Also, like I said, for you guys, graduating college is not enough. You need to do 2 other things. One, you need to learn a programming language, and you need to learn it very well. And then you also need to learn data structures and algorithms. And you're going to solve like 100 data structures and algorithm problems, and you're going to do that preferably with Python. So there's 2 steps more after your college degree before you start mass applying for jobs. I mean, you could mass apply for jobs, but if you get to the interview stage and they give you a data structure problem, you're not going to know what to do, even if you graduate college. So, like I said, first step is you want to learn a programming language, preferably Python, and the other step is learn how to solve data structure and algorithm problems. So, and I will cover that too in future videos. It's probably going to be a while before I actually cover that, but I will cover that on this channel in the future. So, I don't know how long this video has gone on, but I feel like I've covered all the information pretty well here. If you want to take this course or check out this course, please check the link in my description. Please like and subscribe if you like my content, and look forward to having more content by me. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I can't believe I'm at 10,000 subscribers. That happened, all of a sudden and pretty fast. And I hope to grow this channel into, 100,000 subscribers at some point, whether that takes 6 months, a year, 5 years, however long it takes. I want to grow with you guys. I want to help you guys, and I hope you come along on this journey with me. So thank you very much. Have a good day.